Hey YouTube, Ryu here, and I'm actually going to be discussing foreign politics today. Yay! Oh God, you know what? The UK really needs to avoid. I think it's the UK. I'm pretty sure it's the UK, where Jeremy Corbyn's running. They need to avoid that motherfucker like the plague. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not against, leftists ever having power or anything like that. But I mean, Labour, which is their leftist party, has had power for so long. And look at the issues that have been going on. They're bitching and complaining about the referendum. And they're trying to get that overturned. Kind of like how here in the U.S., our liberals are trying to sit there and get Trump impeached for random fucking shit because they ended up losing and they didn't expect that they were going to lose. And they just can't accept the loss. But Jesus Christ, I mean, I every time I listen to Jeremy talk, oh my God. I mean, Theresa, at least with her, she gives as straightforward of answers as you can expect from a fucking politician. Is she 100% forthcoming? No, but show me even one political candidate that's ever been completely forthcoming and given completely straight answers. I mean, hell, Trump's the closest thing we got to that. He spoke in very simplistic terms. He was, if someone asked him a question, they said, "What are you going to do having to do with this? What's going to be your course of action?" He actually would sit there and say, "Hey, here's what I'm planning on doing." He would at least say, "Here's my end game." You got the same thing with Theresa on this, and then you listen to people like Hillary and Corbin, and all of a sudden you get this bureaucratic fluff out of it, and it's all like, well, we just want an answer. That's all we fucking want. I mean, do you even know what you want to fucking do? Perfect example, Corbin on the whole nuclear thing. He's all against nuclear weapons and that sort of thing, which I understand it. I mean, I have to agree that, yeah, if nuclear weapons are used, it's kind of a lose-lose situation. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Because looking at it from more of a humanitarian way, I mean, there's a reason why weapons of mass destruction are highly frowned upon, and that's because when you use weapons of mass destruction, it hits a lot of people that really have no say in the matter. It's all like you're hitting a lot of civilians. You're not just hitting combatants. You're leveling entire cities. You're making areas unlivable for at least a generation, if not 2 generations, depending on the size of the nuke. But also at the same time, I mean, you're crippling that country. I mean, it really weakens the country. I mean, even if you hit a more out of the way area, it's still felt throughout the entire country. So the problem is when do you use nukes? That's the real question that needs to be answered. You've got some people that are pretty straightforward about it, that are all like, look, nuclear weapons are more of a deterrent than anything else. It's kind of like sitting there and announcing that you have a security system on your house. If you don't have something on your house saying, hey, this is protected by this security system, then, people are going to be more likely to try to break into your house if they're bound and determined to break into someone's house. they're not going to break into the one where it's protected by a security system. Unless they know how to get past that security system. So the problem is with someone sitting there and saying, oh, we won't ever use nuclear weapons. It's kind of like sitting there and having a sign, saying, oh, my house is connected by this security, is protected by this security system. And then underneath of that sign saying, I haven't paid for the service in over a year, so it's been discontinued. It's all like, it's not going to serve that protective thing anymore. Is the security system itself still there? Yes. But technically at that point, you're saying, I'm not able to use it. Pointless. So basically what it is it's actually a preemptive measure. Just the fact that you have that nuclear power, that's where other countries are all like, yeah, let's not start a full-scale war. Let's not launch our own nukes. That's kind of a thing. And now you've got psychopaths like Kim Jong-un, who needs to be fucking removed. I mean, but the thing is going ahead and removing these dictators just leads to another dictator going right in, and typically the end result is worse. So when I say he needs to be removed, it's more of a metaphorical thing. It's all like, he needs to know that if he goes ahead and hits one of these other countries like the US or Russia or China or Japan with nuclear weapons, that he needs to be reminded that, hey, two nukes can basically wipe out the entirety of your portion of that country. You will be fucking over the entirety of your country, both north and south. So maybe launching nukes isn't a good idea, unless you want all your people dead. Just saying. Maybe stop pointing the nukes at people, because, people are sitting there and saying, oh, Trump wants nuclear war. If he wanted nuclear war, he has a perfect excuse at this point to have an itchy trigger finger. He has a perfect excuse for it, yet he hasn't done it. So that right there, I'm like, people saying, oh, Trump wants nuclear war. He doesn't want nuclear war. If he wanted nuclear war, he would have already launched a nuke by now. If he really was a warmonger. But the thing is now you've got Corbin sitting there, and he is refusing to answer questions on what his policy is going to be as far as nuclear power in the military is concerned. And that right there is kind of telling. It's because he knows that if he says what he's planning on doing, it's not going to be popular, and there's no way he's going to get in. Well, people are learning to read between the lines there. They're learning to go, oh, you're refusing to answer the question. You know it will piss all of us off. All right, so mark that in a negative box. That's the problem with modern day politics. The old tricks aren't really working anymore. People have started being able to decipher the political fluff, and they're able to tell now when someone sits there and says absolutely nothing with the most words possible. So let's be short and concise on this. To the people of the UK, if anyone from there is watching, Corbyn is the worst conceivable choice that you could make. Hands down, flat out. I mean, at the very least, Theresa May will go ahead and honor the referendum, for one. She's not going to sit there and go, oh, we're going to go ahead and have another revote. Lose that revote. Oh, we're going to have another revote. Lose that revote. Oh, we're going to have another revote right afterward. and then the people who voted for the Brexit not have a chance to do it, not have a chance to go out and vote, or end up not even really knowing, and all of a sudden turnouts are lower, and all of a sudden, oh, we won that vote. Oh, well, I guess this one stands. No, we're not going to allow any more revotes. We finally got what we wanted. You're not going to have that with her. She's going to honor the initial referendum, and y'all are going to be out of there. What you want to get out of the EU, especially since the EU's trying to poise itself for war with America, you don't want to get involved with that. And not to mention, I have a question. How in the hell is that going to work out as far as NATO's concerned? Since there are a lot of European countries that are involved in NATO. So if the European Union ends up launching an attack against the U.S., starts a war with the U.S., who does NATO side with? Do they side with the EU? Or do they side with the U.S.? I'm very curious about this. Something tells me that they would side with the EU because they'd be all like, well, you wanted to be Russia, buddy with Russia, so why don't you rely on your new friends? It's all like, you don't want us to rely on our new friends. Because Russia, they don't exactly pull punches anymore. They have been lately. But if it comes down to them getting to fuck up the EU, getting to fuck up these NATO countries who have had sanctions on them for decades, you think they're not going to jump at the opportunity to cause as much damage as quickly as possible? Okay. Love your optimism? Fuck. Especially with someone like Putin in there. Holy crap. I mean, the guy kills his own freaking people. All right? I mean, I'm talking about, news people and so on and so forth. You think he's going to take it easy on the countries of the EU who have been financially fucking his country and fucking his people the whole time? I mean, say what you will. Yeah, he may be willing to kill a few of his own people. But the thing is he honestly does it because he's saying, oh, the greater good, that sort of thing. Kind of like an abusive dad that spanks his kids, hoping that they're gonna end up making something of themselves and not become as much of a loser as him. It's that type of principle. It's the most fucked up thing possible, but done with the best of intentions. And so, if he gets an excuse to go after the people that have been actively trying to take down his country on a financial level through sanctions, you think they're not going to take that opportunity? Really? Really? No, in all honesty, the best course of action at this point is for y'all to get Theresa May in there, because she is not interested in a war with the U.S. Corbyn, on the other hand, is sitting there saying, oh, I want to work alongside of the U.S., but then completely fucking tries to trounce Trump in the same interview. It's like, no, you can't fucking do that. You can't insult someone and go, but I want to work with you. I want to work with you when it benefits me. When you have to provide me protection for no cost. Which Trump already said he's not going to fucking allow. He's going to block that at any fucking turn, and the American people are going to block it. We've got our own financial fucking issues going on. UK, you have your financial issues, we have ours. We don't need to pick up your slack, especially with as long as you guys have remained in the EU after your Brexit vote. You guys should be out by now. I mean, I understand you're all your government's, been trying to fight against it, and, you're also trying to figure out exactly how to cleanly and safely do the whole Brexit and get a nice clean break. But the problem is you all have your issues. We have our issues. Don't look at us for protection if Corbyn gets in. If Corbyn gets in, you're kind of on your own. You're going to end up relying on the EU. And if you rely on the EU, they're going to pull you into a conflict. Hell, something tells me if they end up getting ballsy enough to attack the US, they're going to hit you on the way here. Because you slated them. Because you just, or slighted them, sorry. But because you ended up leading, they're going to do the whole vengeful X thing. They're going to come in and fuck up your shit after the fact while going after some new target. And the problem is you're going to get caught right in the middle. I mean, hell, the EU's, with what they've said that they want to do, everyone's looking at that and going, yeah, that sounds like World War III type shit. Well, fuck. And this one's going to be started by the EU. Awesome. So we're going to end up having, basically those shock troopers coming in. And again, Germany's going to be involved, trying to force the EU's views and way of doing things on the rest of the world. And it's going to be really weird because I did not think that I would ever see the countries in the EU become an Axis power. And if you go ahead and you get Corbyn in there, you're going to be part of that Axis power whether you want to be or not. Corbyn is very totalitarian. He's for your middle class. He's for the people that don't 100% succeed, but also don't 100% fail. I love how he brings up college tuition debt in the same line of thinking as he brings up with the homeless. There's a big difference between that. A homeless person is not going to even get a chance to rack up that debt. You know what they get the chance to do? They get the chance to starve and freeze to death on the street. Or get arrested for being homeless. That's what they get. They get the chance to be hassled and harassed by activists saying that they're still more privileged than these immigrants, or should I say refugees. They're actually immigrants. The refugees that are coming in, getting more governmental aid, getting extra programs, getting housing handed to them, getting money thrown their way. It's a massive fucking shit show over there, just like it's a shit show over here. But the thing is you guys have a chance to stop it. We have Trump, so at the very least, we brought ourselves to a stalemate in our country. Theresa May doesn't seem like she's gonna be okay with doing the whole stalemate thing, and it seems like with the way that your guys' governmental system works, if the information that I've been gathering is correct, it seems like you guys have a lot more say in the direction of your country than the US does. To be perfectly honest. So, the thing is at this point, do you want to leave yourselves defenseless and still part of the EU, potentially drawing you into a massive fucking war? Or do you want to be able to maintain your defensive forces, still probably get dragged into a fucking war, but be able to actually choose your allies instead of having them dictated to you? and also have a chance to actually take over your own growth and save yourself from being eaten alive by the continued forced immigration policies that you're subjected to currently, and that if Corbyn gets his way, you will not only continue to be subjected to, but will be subjected to in a much higher degree. Are you going to go ahead and vote Corbyn in, who is at this point, by extension, voting, who is basically Merkel at this point? Do you really want someone in there that says, oh, well, the poor can go ahead and take another hit because these refugees are more important than my own people here in this country that elected me? Looking forward to seeing your answer. And you can go ahead, you can go into the comment section, you can say all the shit you want. Talk is cheap. The answer that I'm going to get from all of you is in your elections. People were saying that the U.S. is a giant blowhard, that we would never elect a president like Donald Trump. Well, what happened? Trump got in. So, we put up when the chips were down. Time for you to put up or shut up.